Ethan Cole had waited his whole life for this day. The morning sun rose over the shining towers of New Manhattan, reflecting golden light on the streets below. Flying cars hummed above like bees and people rushed toward their dreams. Among them walked Ethan, 22 years old, thin, nervous, and full of hope. He had worked 3 years repairing junk ships, saving every credit he could, just to afford the suit he was wearing now. His shoes were old, his tie was borrowed, but his heart burned with excitement. Today was his interview at Starforge Industries, the most powerful technology company on Earth. Getting hired there meant wealth, respect, and a future among the stars. As he walked toward the main transit hub, Ethan whispered to himself, "Today is my day. I won't mess this up." He took a deep breath and looked at the holographic clock above the city plaza, 9:22 a.m. He had just enough time to reach the Starforge tower by 10. The air smelled of metal and ozone as a group of delivery drones zipped past. Ethan's pulse raced as he imagined himself working on one of Starforge's starships, maybe designing engines that could reach new worlds. He smiled. For once, life felt like it was finally turning his way. Then everything changed. A loud explosion shook the sky. People screamed. Alarms echoed through the plaza. Ethan turned and saw a flash of blue fire tearing across the clouds. A silver ship, small and elegant, spiraled downward like a wounded bird. It wasn't human design, too smooth, too organic. The craft crashed beyond the loading docks near the spaceport, sending smoke and dust into the air. The crowd ran in panic, shouting about alien attack and invasion. Ethan froze. His heart pounded. An alien ship on Earth? For years, humans had only made contact with a few alien traders in far colonies. They never came this close to Earth. "Stay away," a security drone warned. "Restricted area." People scattered. Ethan looked back at the holo clock, 9:38 a.m. If he left now, he could still reach Starforge on time. But his eyes turned again toward the smoke. Someone might be hurt. He felt a pull inside his chest, the kind that told him what was right, not what was easy. He whispered to himself, 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. And he ran toward the crash site. The closer he got, the quieter it became. The spaceport was strangely empty. No rescue teams, no reporters. Only smoke and the faint crackle of burning metal. Ethan climbed over broken crates and twisted pipes until he saw it. The alien ship, half buried in the concrete. It shimmered like liquid silver, slowly healing itself as if alive. He stepped closer, his reflection bending across its curved surface. Then he heard it, a soft sound, almost like breathing. "Hello?" he said carefully. A voice answered, weak but clear. "Help, please." Ethan froze. Inside the ship's open hatch, he saw a figure slumped against the wall. Tall, slender, with gray-blue skin and glowing amber eyes. It was an alien. Without thinking, Ethan rushed forward. The air smelled sharp, full of strange energy. He lifted the alien's arm over his shoulder. "Hang on, I've got you." The alien tried to speak again, its voice trembling. "You shouldn't be here, human. They are watching." "Who's watching?" Ethan asked. The alien looked toward the sky. "Your people." Starforge, Ethan's breath caught. Starforge? How could his dream company be involved in this? The alien coughed, a faint spark of light escaping its lips like dust. "Must repair ship before they come." Ethan's engineering instincts kicked in. He looked around and spotted damaged energy coils leaking blue plasma. He tore off his tie, wrapped his hand, and started sealing the cracks with a nearby tool. "You're crazy," he muttered to himself. "But maybe I'm crazier for helping you." The alien watched him silently, its eyes glowing brighter. "Why help me?" it asked weakly. Ethan shrugged. "Because no one else will." Minutes passed. The hum of the ship slowly stabilized. Then a sharp beep came from above. Ethan looked up. Several black drones hovered over the crash site, each marked with the symbol of Starforge Industries. He felt his blood turn cold. "Identify yourself," a metallic voice commanded. "This area is secured under Starforge authority. Step away from the alien vessel." Ethan froze. The alien whispered, "Too late." The drones aimed their blasters. Ethan grabbed the alien's arm and pulled him behind a fallen crate. Bolts of plasma ripped through the air, scorching the ground around them. "Why are they shooting at you?" Ethan shouted. The alien winced. "Because I know their secret." Ethan's mind spun. His dream job, his perfect future, everything he wanted, now mixed with lies, danger, and something much bigger than he understood. He looked at the alien, bleeding light from a wound on his chest. I can't leave you here. The alien looked at him strangely, almost like he was seeing something familiar. Then you have already chosen your path, human. The ground shook as more drones landed nearby. Ethan helped the alien crawl inside a broken maintenance tunnel beneath the dock. The smell of burning metal filled the air. As they disappeared into the darkness, the alien whispered one last thing. Your dream job is not what you think it is. The tunnel was dark and cold. Ethan could barely see where he was going, only the faint glow from the alien's wounds lighting the way. The air smelled like burnt metal and smoke. Above them, drones buzzed like angry insects searching the wreckage. Ethan pressed his back against the wall, panting. His hands were shaking. He had almost died, and he still didn't understand why. The alien beside him was weak, his body trembling. His skin shimmered softly like moonlight on water. Hey, stay with me, Ethan whispered. What's your name? The alien looked at him with tired eyes. Kyle, he said softly. My name is Kale. Ethan nodded. Okay, Kale, I'm Ethan. You're hurt. We need to get you somewhere safe. Kale blinked slowly. Safe? Nowhere is safe. Not with Starforge hunting me. The words made Ethan's stomach twist. Why would Starforge attack you? You're not the enemy. You didn't even fight back. Kale gave a faint, sad smile. Because I know their secret. And you soon will, too. They walked deeper into the tunnel until they reached an old service room filled with dusty tools and broken panels. Ethan helped Kale lie down on a metal bench. The alien's breathing was uneven. Strange blue fluid leaked from his side. Ethan tore off a strip of his sleeve and pressed it gently against the wound. Kale hissed in pain but nodded. You have kind hands. Human. Ethan tried to focus, though his heart was racing. I've fixed ships before, but never something like you. Kale chuckled weakly. You humans. Always so curious. Ethan looked around the room and spotted an old repair kit. He grabbed wires, sealant foam, and a plasma torch. If I can stabilize your body energy, maybe your ship can heal you faster. Kale tilted his head. You are not afraid? Ethan smirked. I should be, but I guess I'm too tired to care. For the next hour, Ethan worked carefully, connecting energy lines and repairing parts of Kale's biosuit. The alien ship outside seemed to respond, glowing faintly even through the walls. As Ethan worked, he kept asking questions. Where are you from? Kale's voice was quiet. From a world far beyond your charts. We came to offer peace and trade. But some humans saw only profit, Starforge. Ethan muttered. Kale nodded. They wanted our ship designs. Our energy cores. When we refused, they attacked. My crew is gone, Ethan froze. Starforge killed them? Kale's eyes glowed brighter. Yes, but not all humans agreed. Some tried to warn us. Some helped us escape. Ethan stopped working for a moment. Maybe my father was one of them. Kyle looked at him. Your father? Ethan nodded. He worked for Starforge years ago. He died in an accident. Or that's what they told me. Kyle studied him quietly. Maybe his death was not an accident. The words hit Ethan like a punch. His mind spun with confusion, anger, and disbelief. Suddenly, a soft beep echoed from Kale's wrist device. He pressed it weakly, and a hologram appeared in midair. Flickering blue light showing a group of human ships attacking an alien convoy. Ethan gasped. That's Starforge! On the side of one ship was the same logo Ethan had admired since childhood. A silver star inside a gear. His dream company. His dream job. The people he wanted to work for were the ones starting a war. Kale looked at him sadly. Now you understand, Ethan's voice cracked. I was supposed to interview there today. I missed it. Because I helped you. Kale gave a faint smile. Then maybe fate helped you too. Outside, the sound of engines grew louder. Ethan peered through a crack in the tunnel wall. Black drones were sweeping the area again. Starforge soldiers in armored suits were searching the ruins. They're back, Ethan whispered. We have to move. Kale shook his head. My ship is repairing itself, but it needs more time. Without the power core, it cannot fly. Ethan looked around and spotted a storage box marked Fuel Cell Unit, Type 9. He ripped it open, revealing a small glowing cylinder. Will this help? Kale's eyes widened slightly. Yes, how did you? Ethan grinned. I'm a mechanic, remember? Fixing broken things is what I do. He connected the fuel cell to Kale's wrist device. Energy surged through the alien's body, and for a brief moment his wounds began to close. His breathing steadied. Kale stood slowly, taller and stronger than before. "You saved me, Ethan Cole." Ethan smiled nervously. "Well, I kind of saved both of us. They're going to find us if we don't move." Kyle nodded. "Then we move." They sneaked out through a maintenance shaft and reached the outer dock where the alien ship rested, still half buried but glowing faintly now. The surface shimmered as if alive, reacting to Kale's presence. Ethan touched the ship gently. "It's beautiful." Kyle placed his hand over Ethan's. "This ship is part of me. It listens, it feels, it remembers." Ethan looked at him curiously. "Like a living machine?" Kyle nodded. "Yes. Created by my people long before your kind walked the stars." As they spoke, the ship's system started to awaken. Lights pulsed across its hull like a heartbeat, but then a sharp metallic sound echoed nearby. A team of Starforge soldiers appeared on the ridge, their weapons raised. "Target acquired," one of them shouted. Ethan's eyes widened. "We're out of time." Kale turned to him. "Then let us finish what you started, mechanic." The ship's hull opened like liquid, forming a ramp. Kale grabbed Ethan's arm and pulled him inside. The moment they entered, the ship roared to life, lifting off the ground. Energy waves rippled outward, knocking the soldiers down. Ethan clung to the console, shouting, "Where are we going?" Kale looked at him with a calm but fierce expression. "To find the truth." The ship shot into the night sky, leaving behind the chaos and the burning city lights. Ethan looked out the window, realizing his old life was gone. His dream job, his future. Everything had changed. But deep inside, a new feeling grew. Purpose. The alien ship glided silently through the night sky, its silver surface glowing like liquid light. Ethan sat in the co-pilot seat, eyes wide, hands trembling slightly as he stared at the stars. For the first time in his life, he was flying in something not built by humans. Beside him, Kale adjusted the control crystal on the console. His movements were calm, almost graceful. "We are safe for now," Kale said softly. "But they will search," Ethan exhaled slowly. "Starforge, they won't stop, will they?" Kale's eyes glowed faintly. "No, they never stop until they own everything they touch." The words echoed in Ethan's mind. He remembered how proud he had been of Starforge, how every kid in school dreamed of working there. They were the face of progress, peace, and human innovation. But now that image was broken. He looked at Kale. "You said they were after your ship." "Why?" Kale turned toward him. "Because this ship holds knowledge, power beyond human science. They wish to use it for war." Ethan frowned. "So they attacked you to steal it?" Kale nodded. "Yes. They want my people's energy source and the Helios core. It can power a city for centuries, or destroy it in a second." Ethan's stomach tightened. "And you brought it here?" Kale's face darkened. "I came to hide it." For a moment, neither spoke. The ship hummed softly like a heartbeat. Then Ethan said, "We need proof. If people saw what Starforge is really doing, they'd stop them." Kale looked at him curious. "And how would you do that?" Ethan took a deep breath. "I used to study their systems. I know how to get into their archives. If we sneak into Starforge HQ, we can expose them." Kale raised an eyebrow. "You would risk your life. To fight your own kind?" Ethan met his gaze. "I'd rather fight for what's right than work for a lie." Kyle smiled slightly. "Then you are not like most humans." By morning, they had landed the ship in an abandoned freight yard near the old industrial zone. Kale disguised the ship under a cloaking field that made it appear like a pile of junk metal. Ethan pulled on a spare Starforge uniform from his old toolbox. He had kept it from a recruitment event, back when he dreamed of belonging there. It felt strange now, like wearing the skin of something fake. Kyle handed him a small metallic sphere. "Take this. It will record everything you see and hear. The truth must be shown." Ethan pocketed it. "What about you?" "I will guide you through your comlink," Kale said. "But I cannot enter the tower. Too many sensors. They would detect me instantly." Ethan nodded. "Guess it's just me then." Kale placed a hand on his shoulder. "Be careful, Ethan Cole. The closer you get to truth, the more dangerous it becomes." Hours later, Ethan stood outside Starforge Tower, its massive black glass walls reaching the clouds. The golden logo glowed above the entrance, a star inside a gear. It used to fill him with pride. Now it made his chest feel heavy. He entered the lobby pretending to be a technician on duty. Security drones scanned him, but Kale's small device blocked the ID signal long enough for him to pass. Inside, the tower buzzed with workers, all unaware of the secrets buried beneath their feet. Ethan moved carefully, pretending to check maintenance panels while listening to Kale's calm voice through the earpiece. "Down 2 levels," Kyle whispered. "The archive room is under Sector Delta." Ethan slipped into an elevator. As the doors closed, his heart pounded. What if I get caught? What if Kale was wrong? He shook the thought away. "Focus, Ethan, just focus." The elevator opened to a dim corridor. Rows of server panels hummed quietly. Blue light danced on the walls. Ethan connected Kale's sphere to a data port. Lines of alien symbols appeared on the screen, mixing with Starforge's code. The system hesitated, then unlocked. "Access granted," Kale said through the comm. Ethan opened file after file, and what he saw froze him. Starforge had been capturing alien ships for years. They called it Project Helios. There were pictures, wrecked alien crafts, dissected bodies, and energy cores torn apart for study. Ethan's hands shook. They've been lying to everyone. The peace treaty, the trade missions, all fake. Kyle's voice came heavy and quiet. "Now you see why I ran." Ethan copied all the files to a drive. Suddenly alarms flashed red. "Unauthorized access detected, Kale!" Ethan shouted. "They know I'm here." "Leave now," Kyle ordered. Ethan ripped out the drive and sprinted toward the elevator, but security doors slammed shut. He turned back, searching for another exit when a shadow moved behind him. "Freeze," a guard shouted. Ethan raised his hands, but the guard didn't shoot. He stepped forward slowly, removing his helmet. Ethan's eyes widened. It wasn't a guard. It was Kale's in human form. "What the? How did you—" Kale smiled faintly. "You didn't think I'd let you face them alone, did you?" Ethan exhaled in relief. "You look human." "Old trick," Kale said. "Your species is easy to mimic." They ran down the corridor as soldiers closed in behind them. Kale held out his hand and a pulse of light burst from his palm, short-circuiting the lights. Ethan followed him into a maintenance shaft. "We got the data. Now what?" Kale glanced at him with something like pride. "Now we show your people what their heroes truly are." They slipped into the night, the Starforge tower glowing behind them like a dark giant. Ethan looked back once. That building used to mean hope. Now it only meant lies, he whispered. "Guess I found my dream job after all, tearing down their dream." Night had swallowed the city. From the top of an abandoned skyscraper, Ethan watched the endless sea of lights below. Flying cars moved like fireflies through the mist. Somewhere beneath those lights, Starforge was hunting him. Beside him stood Kale, his human disguise fading away. His skin shimmered softly, revealing faint silver-blue patterns beneath. Ethan had seen many strange things since meeting Kale, but nothing prepared him for what was coming next. "Kale," Ethan said quietly, "I got the data. Everyone needs to see it. But how do we make them believe us?" Kyle looked at the glowing horizon. "Humans believe in power, not truth. We must show them both," Ethan frowned.
"What do you mean?"
Kale turned toward him, his golden eyes reflecting the city lights. "It's time you know who I am." They went down into an old metro tunnel beneath the city, dark, quiet, hidden from drones. Kale placed his hand on the tunnel wall. Instantly, the concrete shimmered like glass, revealing a hidden doorway. Ethan stepped back. "How did you—" Kale only said, "Follow me." Inside was a massive underground chamber filled with glowing crystals, ancient machines, and holograms of alien symbols mixed with human writing. In the center stood a huge black monolith humming with energy. Ethan's eyes widened. "What is this place?" Kale walked closer, his voice calm but heavy. "The beginning. Before Starforge became a weapon, it was my dream." Ethan froze. "Your dream?" Kale turned to face him fully. His human disguise vanished completely. The glow in his body intensified, and his voice echoed slightly, full of quiet power. "I founded Starforge." For a moment, Ethan couldn't breathe. "You're lying," he said softly. "Starforge was built by Dr. Hayden Ward 60 years ago. Everyone knows that." Kyle's eyes dimmed. "Dr. Ward was my human identity. I came to Earth in peace to share knowledge to help your people reach the stars. We built this company together, humans and my kind. Ethan took a step back, shaking his head. That's impossible. You were there before I was born. Kale smiled sadly. My species lives long, very long. I have seen civilizations rise and fall. I believed humans would be different. He touched the black monolith and it came alive with light. Holograms filled the air, images of early Starforge labs, humans and aliens working side by side. Then the images changed, soldiers, weapons, fire. Humans taking control. They took everything, Kale said quietly. My name, my dream, my company. They turned it into a machine of greed. Ethan's chest tightened. So you came back to stop them? Kyle nodded. I left my creations to guide humanity, but power changed them. When I returned, they called me an intruder. Ethan looked at the monolith, realizing it wasn't just a relic. It was alive, pulsing with ancient intelligence. So this is what they wanted? The technology that built Starforge? Yes, Kale said. But without understanding it, they will destroy themselves. Ethan walked closer, staring at the glowing patterns. Why tell me all this? I'm just some mechanic who missed a job interview. Kale placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. You fixed my ship when no one else would. You saw beyond fear. You are proof that humanity still has hope. Ethan looked up, meeting Kale's eyes. Hope won't stop Starforge. They'll hunt us forever. Kale reached into his suit and pulled out a small cube glowing with white light. Then let this be your weapon. Ethan took it carefully. What is it? The core of truth, Kale said. It holds every secret, every crime, every lie Starforge ever built. Release it and the world will know. Ethan turned the cube in his hands. It was warm, almost alive. If I send this out, they'll come after me. Kale's tone softened. They already are. Before Ethan could respond, the ground shook violently. The monolith flickered. Kale's expression darkened. They found us. Drones poured through the tunnel entrance, firing plasma rounds that exploded against the walls. Ethan ducked behind a console. Kale raised his hands, summoning a shield of light that rippled like water, blocking the blasts. Ethan, go! Kale shouted. I'm not leaving you. Kale's voice thundered. You must. The truth must live even if I do not. Ethan hesitated only for a moment before grabbing the cube and running toward the exit. Kyle turned, his entire body glowing with blinding energy. As Ethan looked back, he saw Kale unleash a surge of light that shattered the drones like glass. But there were too many. More soldiers entering, their armor reflecting the monolith's glow. Kale, Ethan shouted. Kale smiled faintly. Run, human. Fix what I could not. Ethan ran through collapsing tunnels, explosions lighting his path. He burst out into the cold night air, covered in dust, clutching the cube tightly. Behind him, the ground cracked open as blue light erupted from below, Kale's final defense. The blast reached the sky, forming a pillar of energy that pierced the clouds. Then silence. Ethan dropped to his knees, panting, tears mixing with dirt. He looked at the cube in his hand. It still pulsed softly like a heartbeat. Kale's last words echoed in his mind. You fixed my ship. Now fix your people. Ethan wiped his eyes. I will. He stood staring at the distant lights of Starforge Tower. He had no weapons, no plan, only the truth and the will to show it. And sometimes that was enough to start a war. Wind roared across the broken skyline of New Manhattan. Smoke still rose from the tunnels where Kyle had made his last stand. Ethan stood on the roof of a half-collapsed building, his clothes torn, his hands shaking, clutching the glowing cube that now felt heavier than the world itself. Below him, Starforge patrol drones scanned the ruins. Searchlights sliced through the fog like blades. Every screen, every billboard showed his face. Wanted, Ethan Cole, traitor to humanity, he whispered under his breath. They call me a traitor, but they're the real monsters. The cube pulsed in his palm, faint and warm, as if it could hear his thoughts. Kale's voice still echoed in his mind. Fix your people. Ethan looked toward the sky. I'll try, Kale, but I don't even know where to begin. Suddenly, the faint hum of engines reached his ears. He ducked behind a vent just as 3 Starforge drones descended, scanning with blue light. He held his breath. One beam brushed across his shoulder. The cube flickered, then emitted a soft tone. The nearest drone froze midair, sparks bursting from its body. It crashed to the roof with a sharp clang. Ethan's eyes widened. You did that? he whispered to the cube. It pulsed again, projecting a small hologram, Kyle's face faint and ghostly. "Ethan Cole," the voice said softly. "If you can see this, I am gone. But part of me remains inside the cube. It will guide you." Ethan's throat tightened. "Kale, you're alive in here?" "Not alive," the hologram replied. "Remembered. The cube is connected to my ship. You must reach it. They will never stop hunting you." The message faded. The drones below started to move again. Ethan tightened his grip on the cube and ran. He sprinted through the dark alleys, jumping over broken barriers, past the shadows of people who once admired Starforge, but now hid from it. He reached the old spaceport, half destroyed, half forgotten. The air smelled of rust and ozone. In the corner of the field, under a tarp of dust and metal, sat Kale's ship. It shimmered faintly as if waiting for him. Ethan approached carefully. "You waited for me." As he touched the hull, the ship came alive. Silver ripples spread across the surface. The ramp opened with a low hum. Inside, lights flickered on one by one, and Kale's voice echoed again from the cube. "Welcome home, mechanic." Ethan smiled weakly. "Let's finish what we started." The ship lifted into the sky, breaking through the clouds. The engines sang like thunder. For the first time, Ethan felt free, but that feeling didn't last long. Starforge ships appeared on the radar. Sleek black fighters surrounded him in seconds. A robotic voice crackled through the comms. "Ethan Cole, surrender the vessel and the alien artifact." "You are surrounded." Ethan's heart pounded. He glanced at the cube on the console. "Kyle, what do I do?" The cube pulsed and Kale's calm voice filled the cabin. "You are a mechanic. You know engines. Trust your hands." Ethan stared at the controls, half human, half alien. He didn't understand them completely, but something in his mind seemed to click, like the ship itself was whispering instructions. He gripped the steering crystal and pushed forward. The ship twisted sharply, diving between the fighters. Plasma shots flashed past the windows. "All right," Ethan muttered. "Let's see what you can do." He pressed a glowing rune on the console. Instantly, the ship vanished in a burst of blue light. Moments later, they reappeared miles away over the dark ocean. Ethan gasped. "You can teleport?" The cube answered softly, "Quantum jump." "Limited energy. Use wisely." Ethan checked the sensors. The fighters were gone for now, but he knew it wouldn't last. He leaned back, trying to catch his breath. His body ached, his mind spinning with exhaustion. "Kyle," he whispered to the cube. "I'm just one person. How do I fight an empire?" The cube glowed brighter. "By giving truth to the people. Send the data from the cube to the public network. Let them see what Starforge hides." Ethan stared at the control panel. "If I do that, they'll track me instantly." Kyle's voice was calm. "They already are." Ethan sighed and began connecting the cube to the ship's transmitter. Files appeared on the screen. Images, videos, recordings of Starforge's crimes. Alien prisoners, human soldiers experimenting on living beings, destroyed worlds labeled as resources. It was horrifying. But it was proof. He hovered over the transmit all button, his finger trembling. "Kyle," he said quietly, "this might be the end of me." The cube replied, "Then it will be the beginning for others." He pressed the button. A burst of light filled the cabin as the transmission went out across every channel. Every screen, every city. For a moment, all of Earth saw the truth. Then the alarm screamed. "Warning, multiple Starforge interceptors incoming." Ethan gritted his teeth and pulled the ship into the clouds. The radar lit up like a storm. He pushed the engines to maximum. Plasma bolts tore through the air around him. "Kale, I need help." The cube's voice grew faint. "I'm losing power, but I can give you one last gift." A surge of energy flowed through the ship. The controls glowed brighter. Ethan felt the engines vibrate like a living heartbeat. "Goodbye." "Ethan Cole," the voice whispered. The ship exploded forward in a blinding flash, breaking the sound barrier, streaking across the sky like a comet. Behind him, Starforge's fighters collided and vanished in fire. Ethan looked out at the stars, breathing hard. "You didn't say goodbye, Kale." "Not yet." The cube was silent, its glow dim but steady. Far below, across the planet, Starforge's name began to crumble. News screens filled with outrage, protests, and disbelief. Ethan had started something he couldn't stop. The truth was free, and so was he. Silence. That was the first thing Ethan felt when he woke up. The second was pain, a deep, heavy ache running through his body. His head throbbed. His vision was blurry. The cabin lights flickered weakly, casting soft blue shadows across the control deck. The ship was still. No sound of engines, no voice. Only the endless blackness of space outside. Ethan groaned and tried to sit up. Every muscle screamed. He looked out the cracked window. Stars stretched endlessly, cold and distant. No planet, no moon, no sign of Earth. Kale? He called out, voice hoarse. Kale, are you there? No reply. He looked around the cabin. The control panels were dead, screens shattered. The cube lay on the floor, its once bright glow dim and flickering like a dying ember. Ethan picked it up carefully. Hey, come on, don't do this to me now. For a moment, nothing happened. Then slowly the cube came alive, glowing faintly. A soft hum filled the air. A beam of light projected from it, and Kale appeared, not as a living being, but as a hologram. His image was transparent, his voice distant yet calm. Ethan Cole, Kale said softly. If you are seeing this, it means the ship has fallen and I am gone. Ethan froze. His throat tightened. No, he whispered. Kyle continued, do not grieve. My death was only one path to truth. You are the last bridge between my people and yours. The hologram flickered. Ethan felt tears burning his eyes. He wanted to shout, to argue, but Kale's voice carried that same steady warmth that once made him believe everything was possible. Kale's eyes met his, almost human now. You showed me that humanity still has light, even when covered in shadows. You fixed what was broken, not just my ship, but my faith. Ethan clenched his fists. Kale, I can't do this alone. I don't even know where I am. The hologram brightened. You are in deep orbit beyond Earth's reach, but the cube will guide you. It carries my final gift, knowledge, truth, and power. Ethan watched as the hologram reached toward the cube. Symbols appeared in the air, shifting like stars, rearranging themselves. Kyle's voice grew quieter. Inside this device is everything Starforge stole, and everything they feared. You must decide how to use it. Use it for what? Ethan asked, desperation in his tone. Kale's golden eyes glowed brighter. To rebuild, or to destroy. The image faded slightly, then returned. The Helios core, the power that can light worlds, is hidden within this ship. If you release it, it will burn Starforge from the sky, but it will also burn you. Ethan stared at the cube in his hand. It pulsed with gentle light, alive, almost breathing. He whispered, You're telling me to destroy them all? Kale shook his head. I am telling you to choose. The hologram flickered again. My kind believed humanity would learn through unity. But perhaps you will learn through pain. Whatever you decide, remember this. Power means nothing without purpose. The image shimmered once more, fading into a final line of words in the air. Truth lives in those who dare to carry it. Then the hologram disappeared. The ship fell silent again. Ethan sat there for a long time, staring at the stars. He felt small, lost, and afraid. But deep inside, under all the fear, something else stirred. Determination. He stood up, wiped his eyes, and walked to the control panel. The cube responded to his touch, glowing brighter. The ship hummed softly, systems rebooting. Ethan smiled faintly. You always did have perfect timing, Kale. He connected the cube to the console and a new holographic map appeared, not of space but of human communication networks. Earth's entire system, from corporate satellites to underground channels glowing like a spiderweb of light. He could reach them all. Every screen, every voice, every mind. He took a deep breath. All right, let's give them the truth. With trembling hands, Ethan began transmitting the files again. This time not just to Earth, but across colonies, space stations, and outposts. Every person who had ever been touched by Starforge's lies would see the truth for themselves. Images filled the screens. Alien prisoners, experiments, warships built from stolen tech. People everywhere started waking up to the reality they were blind to. Ethan's heart raced. Come on, work. The cube pulsed faster, brighter. Then suddenly the ship began to shake. Warning lights flashed red. Power overload detected, said the system's mechanical voice. Ethan gritted his teeth. Not now. He slammed the controls, trying to stabilize the system. The cube glowed like a miniature sun, vibrating violently. Kale's faint voice whispered from within. balance truth with mercy. Ethan realized what was happening. The ship's Helios core was reacting. The more energy he used to transmit, the more unstable it became. He had a choice: stop the transmission and survive, or finish it and risk everything. Ethan stared at the console. His pulse thundered. He remembered Kale's words. "You fixed my ship. Now fix your people." He smiled sadly. "Guess I'm not done fixing yet." Ethan pushed the system to maximum output. The light was blinding. The cube's glow filled the cabin, wrapping him in warmth. Through the static, he heard Kale's voice one last time. "Thank you, human." Then a silence. The ship erupted in a burst of pure light, a wave of energy sweeping across the stars, carrying the message to every corner of human space. When the light faded, only the cube remained, floating gently in the empty void, still glowing faintly as if watching. On Earth, across cities and colonies, billions of people stared at their screens in shock and tears. Starforge's lies had been exposed. The world would never be the same again. And somewhere deep in space, a human's voice echoed softly, carried by the stars. "Kyle, we did it." Years passed. The world had changed. The once mighty towers of Starforge Industries were now covered in vines and dust. Their glowing logos no longer lit the night. What was once a symbol of human pride had become a monument to human greed, a memory the world wished to forget. But something new had risen from the ashes. Across Earth and the colonies, humans and aliens now worked together side by side. Cities were rebuilt not with walls but with bridges. Markets overflowed with strange colors and voices. The air buzzed with hope and fear of a future that no one fully understood yet. They called it the Age of the Accord, and it had begun because of one man, a mechanic who once dreamed of a job interview. A quiet town beyond the main city. On a cliff that overlooked the shining skyline, a small workshop stood. Its walls were lined with old ship parts, rusty tools, and half-finished inventions. Inside, an older Ethan Cole worked alone. His hair had turned gray at the edges, his hands were scarred, but his eyes still carried the same fire. He fixed things for anyone who needed help: humans, aliens, even hybrid children who didn't yet understand the world they lived in. He never spoke about the past, but sometimes, late at night, he would look up at the stars and whisper a name: Kyle. The cube, Kyle's cube, sat quietly on his workbench. It hadn't spoken since that day. Its light was dim now, like a sleeping ember. Ethan kept it near, the way one keeps a heart close even after it stops beating. One evening, as the twin moons rose, a young girl knocked on his workshop door. She was about 12, wearing an oversized jacket and holding a broken toy ship. "Are you Mr. Ethan Cole?" she asked shyly. Ethan smiled. "That's what the sign says." She placed the toy on the table. "Can you fix it?" "My brother says it's junk." Ethan picked it up carefully. "Junk is just something waiting for another chance." The girl giggled. "That's what my teacher says too." Ethan smiled softly. "Smart teacher." As he repaired the toy, the girl looked around the workshop. Her eyes stopped on the cube. "What's that?" she asked. Ethan paused. "A memory." "Of who?" He looked at the cube, then at her. "Of a friend who believed humans could be better." The girl tilted her head. "Was he right?" Ethan sighed. "We're still trying to prove him right." He handed her the fixed toy. "There you go. Good as new." She grinned, thanked him, and ran out into the twilight. Ethan watched her go, his heart full but heavy. The world was healing, but scars remained. That night a storm rolled in. Lightning flashed across the sky, thunder shaking the workshop walls. Ethan sat at his desk staring at the cube again. For the first time in years, it flickered faintly. Ethan froze. "Kyle?" he whispered. The cube pulsed again, stronger this time. A faint hologram shimmered into the air, static at first, then forming into a familiar figure. Kyle. Not as a ghost this time, but real, solid, alive. His eyes glowed softly, his face calm. Ethan stood up, heart pounding. "You're alive?" Kyle smiled gently. "Not in the way you remember. The cube rebuilt me, a memory turned into matter. I am part of what you created." Ethan took a shaky breath. "I thought you were gone." "I was," Kale said. "But your message woke more than just the people. It reached my world. They came in secret to rebuild what was lost. They followed your example, not mine. Ethan laughed softly, shaking his head. You always make it sound like I did something impossible. Cal stepped closer, his voice warm. You did. You changed humanity not with power, but with choice. Ethan's eyes glistened. And you came back, Cal nodded. Not for power. For peace. He looked out through the window at the glowing city beyond the storm. Humans and my people finally walked the same path. You made that happen. Ethan sat down slowly, the weight of years settling on him. I just tried to do what was right. Cal placed a hand on his shoulder. That is what makes you great. That is what makes humans worth saving. They sat in silence for a while, watching lightning dance across the clouds. Then Kyle spoke again. It's time, Ethan. Ethan frowned. Time for what? Cal gestured to the cube. Its energy is almost gone. When it fades, I will fade too. But its last spark can do one more thing. It can repair what you've lost. Ethan's voice cracked. You mean, Cal smiled. It can heal you. Give you a little more time. Ethan shook his head. No, I've had my time. Use it to stay. To teach them. Kyle looked at him, pride and sadness in his eyes. You humans, always choosing others before yourselves. He placed the cube on the table. Its glow turned golden. Then I will leave something behind, not my power, but my memory. A beam of light filled the room. For a moment, the storm outside stopped. When the light faded, Kyle was gone. The cube had turned to dust, but on the wall above Ethan's desk, a message glowed faintly in light. Hope lives in those who dare to fix what's broken. Ethan smiled through tears. He whispered, Guess I got the job after all. He looked out at the dawn breaking through the clouds. The world outside was still flawed, still human, but it was moving forward. And somewhere beyond the stars, Cal's legacy continued, carried by every person who believed that truth. Kindness and courage could still change the universe.